Heavier and still heavier grows the weight of bombs dropped by the flying fortresses on the war centers of Nazi Germany. This is a recent raid, and there go the blockbusters, filmed at an unusual angle. Stepped up to meet the intensified attack is the German fighter defense, and many forts go down. That's a U.S. airman who has bailed out and is parachuting to safety. On this raid, the targets were well plastered, and their job done, the forts turned homewards. It's amazing that some did reach home, but they're so powerful that when their bombs are dropped, they can get back on one engine. The damage shows the terrific resistance the Americans have to fight down. Radio warns the station doctor to be on hand when men are wounded. No time is lost in getting them out. The U.S. Air Force based on Britain has taken a lot of punishment, but it has dished it out still more generously. Now a really remarkable picture. That fort exploded. Badly shot up, it shed one of its wings as it was in the very act of landing. It dropped like a stone. All the crew were killed. In a few seconds, the fire trucks were on the scene. Undeterred by losses, the Americans go up day after day, doing their great share to soften up the fortress of Europe, preparatory to the great invasion. The day bombers of the U.S. Air Force based on Britain daily intensify their contribution to the Battle of Germany. They take their losses with a smile. Many of the planes that come back show the scars of war, but repair work does miracles to carry out General Arnold's order to keep them flying. Pancake landings are frequent, and the mobile workshops have some very ingenious devices to deal with them. One of the cleverest, originally an RAF idea, is the balloon jack, a huge rubber bag which inflates and is just the thing on irregular ground. The crash wagon is equipped with cylinders of compressed gas to blow up the balloon, and the 14-ton plane is lifted with ease. Engine repairs are executed in shortest possible time. While the cameramen were at the airfield, a fortress limped home with landing gear disabled and made a perfect crash landing. The Allied air offensive is bombing the German war machine to extinction. RAF versus the American Air Force. The men took time out from bombing Germany for a friendly set to at a U.S. air station. Jimmy Sanderson, RAF, met Bill Wright, Ohio. Ron Bissell and Ray Vysikevitz of New York. With a name like that, he won easily. Jimmy Smith and Nick Gualiado. Now see Herbert Williams hand out a beautiful KO, all for Air Craftsman Todd. Herbert's certainly some scrapper. Remembering poor Todd, we'll say that a good time was had by nearly all. The flying fortresses and liberators of the American Air Force have blazed the daylight trail to Berlin. The sorely tried capital of Germany may now hear the menacing roar of the four-engine bomber at any hour of the day or night. Nearly 1,000 aircraft, made up of a great fleet of bombers with heavy fighter escort, converged through the substratosphere upon Berlin. All the way over Europe it was heavy going. To counter their daylight assault, the enemy put up every available fighter. Just visible through thick cloud were the targets in the German capital 4 miles below. Flak burst all around the bombers. Their mission accomplished, the bombers fought their way home. The stationary propeller in this picture shows an engine out of action. Flares were dropped over their own airfields by forts that had wounded men aboard. Where necessary, the bombers were met by the station ambulances and the wounded men quickly taken to hospital. For the rest, their spirits were high. They had achieved the almost impossible, and they were going to do it again.
Well, men, now that we've been the first ones to Berlin, how would you like to go back again?
Nearly 2,000 aircraft, including no less than 900 fighters, delivered the second devastating American attack on Berlin. The flying fortresses and liberators took the air from several bomber stations, and when they rendezvoused, made up a monster force of 1,000. Allied air fleets have now reached the colossal dimensions predicted 2 years ago. Target for today was the ball bearing plant at Erkner, Berlin suburb, 16 miles from the city center. Every mile of the well-plotted route, once over the channel, the raiders fought their way against German fighters and flak. Down goes a Nazi. 83 fell to the U.S. fighters, several more to the bombers. Across the southern outskirts of Berlin, the bombers pressed on towards Erkner. 10,000 HE, 350,000 incendiaries blasted the target. The plant at Erkner produced half the ball-bearing requirements of the entire Luftwaffe. The attack was a complete success, but the bombers still had to fight their way home, and still the fighters came on. Another Nazi down. At last, the formations left the enemy coast behind. Only 38 of the 1,000 bombers failed to return. Ground crews counted their men in. They noted one fort with a damaged undercarriage and sent flares up to warn the pilot. He made a wonderful landing on one wheel. Ambulance and fire wagons were not wanted. Next day, the Americans hit Berlin again. Under the relentless day and night Allied air blows, the German war machine must inevitably collapse. Meanwhile, flying men have the war to win. Thunderbolt pilots of the American Fighter Command, based on Britain, are rapidly perfecting the technique of escorting the heavy bombers against the enemy and crippling the Nazi Fighter Command in the process. Escorting fortresses on this flight, the Thunderbolts took heavy toll of German fighter planes. The automatic camera guns secured vivid pictures of the conflict and filmed Nazi after Nazi being shot from the sky. remarkable picture. One wing of the Nazi is 3 parts shot away, but it still flies. But not for long. Back home came the Thunderbolts. They'd safely escorted the bombers, helped to obliterate another vital target in Germany, and dealt the Luftwaffe one more heavy blow. When the air war is won, much credit will be due to the gallant pilots of the Thunderbolt fighters.